Hey guys. Okay, so I am going to the pool. Um, my hair is a little cray cray, but I don't really care. Um, I just moved into my new place and check out this patio. It is cool. So I need to explain. I don't need to explain anything to anybody specifically, but I kind of need to explain what I've been up to. And I'm going to move comments to the side. And my phone broke. The screen is black, but I've had like just about like everything happen over the past um however long it's been kind of a whirlwind over the past few days. Anyways, so I'm gonna actually turn this thing off. So I'm in a apartment in Houston. And I have a lot of stuff I need to catch everybody up on. And I'll explain some stuff later. But I wanted to talk about identity and check out my patio. I did see right over there where that blue thing is right there. That is where I learned how to teach everything that I've taught and what I've been teaching. And I felt like I went and looked at I went and looked at $400,000 penthouse suites. I went and looked at, they were amazing. I went and looked at several different apartment complexes with views of downtown Houston. I went to, $400,000 houses in Katy. I went to $400,000 houses in Memorial. I went and looked at all these different places. And I came back here because I'll go into an explanation why I ended up in Houston. But my gut instinct before I went traveling was to get a place in Houston. What the fuck? Get a place in Houston. And I'm just gonna keep it on me. To get a place in Houston, and because I have family here, and there's been some circumstances that happened that I don't feel necessarily the best about not having a place here. And it's really I was spending so much money on Airbnbs that it was kind of like, I want a place that I can ground myself, and I want a place that I will feel safe at, and I want a place that feels really creative, and I want a place that is like almost kind of like an office, and I want a place that I feel really, really at home in. And so I'm here in this place, and have been sleeping like a baby for the past couple of nights, and feel really at home, and feel really expansive, and feel really responsible, and feel really like I'm diving into deeper aspects of money mindset, because I'm not living in a $400,000 house, and I'm investing my money differently, and I'm being more loving and forgiving of my family, and I'm being more understanding in communications with people, and I'm being more strategic about how I present myself to people, to relationships, to all sorts of different dynamics. I'm being more in my values, getting more in touch with my core values. And my core values is, I used to say, if I ever have a lot of money, or actually when I have a lot of money, I would rather have several small places around the world than having big places. And so I started thinking about it, and my mom was like, just consider this your second home. And I thought about it, and I was just like, you know what? It feels really cool to like just go to some place, ground for a while, and have a location that I can come to when I'm seeing family, because, you know, shit happens with family, and I don't have the type of heart that can, when family is in crisis, when family has shit that happens, and I'll explain that later, this is not that live stream, to be there for family. And I'm not, and my mom and I were talking about this, and she said, Molly, I want you to get to a point where you're not so worried about taking on other people's shit that it impacts you. And so I need to talk about being empathic. And because I'm very deeply empathic, and so I've shut myself off so deeply from other people that I wasn't allowing myself to be open to being the loving, caring, giving person that I actually really am. But because I either overgave or I didn't give too much. And my mom and I were discussing this, and she was like, you're actually a very giving, loving person. And I know that, but like, I used to be so overgiving that it was, awful. And my mom was talking about how, because she helped me a lot, like she was with me, she literally was looking for 2 weeks prior to me coming back to Houston for me to find a place to live. And each one, I'm not kidding, like each one had a feeling of not being the right place. And each one had some sort of something that was just like this big thing. Like I was going to get this penthouse apartment in downtown Houston with like views all over each window that was $3,000 a month, $2,800. And it was like huge and gorgeous and spectacular. And like the balcony was fucking huge. It was so amazing. It was just like, oh my God. And then I was carrying my Tom Ford bag that's $2,000 downstairs. And they didn't tell me that there was wet paint on the walls. And my mom looked down at my bag as we were going off the elevator, and she was like, oh my God. And she went back into the leasing office and said, I'm sorry, but like, can somebody do something about this? And she was very cool, calm about it. I was pissed, but I was also kind of like frozen because I didn't know whether or not I wanted to like say anything about it because I loved this place. And I also had this moment where I was like, I can't spend $37 or however much it is, like $30,000 to $36,000 on a place to live in a building where they didn't tell me about wet paint. And when we confronted them about it before I left, they were like, oh, you can take it to Tom Ford, it's fine. And we called Tom Ford, and they said they couldn't clean it either. So I was basically about to have a $2,000 bag ruined. And the thing that I have learned is that if something doesn't feel right, don't fucking do it. And no matter how much you want it, no matter how pretty it looks or whatever. And then we went to another apartment complex, and it was called the Hayworth, named after Rita Hayworth, and went and saw, and it thought it was like, the place, but it didn't feel like home. And so I was just like, I was ready to sign on the dotted line for that one too. And, had really cool neighbors, and it was just like, something didn't feel right. And cheap move-in, easy to move in, like they wanted to give me discounts and all this different stuff, and it was, a decent sized place, but at the same time I was kind of like, it was $2,000 a month, and I'm like, if I'm going to get an apartment in Houston, and this is going to be a second home, I don't want to pay, either I'm going to go big and pay like $3,000 a month and have like a gorgeous place, or I'm going to keep it under $2,000 a month because it's just like, and find some place that I feel really at home in. And then we went to this other place, or there were like two other ones, but I'll just tell this one. And then we went to this other place where they didn't, it was a cute little place, and it was like $1,300 a month, and I'm like, perfect. It's cute, it's simple, it's, boom, it's done. And one of the things is like they had this amazing workout place and like all these fucking amenities, and it was just like, whoa, this is perfect. And then when I went into the leasing office to fill out the application, it took me like, I had to go round and round and fill it out like 4 different times, and I was getting pissed off. And then when I went to call my bank to get shit set up, I was losing reception over and over again, and we even went up to the apartment, and I was losing reception again, and I was just like, I have an online business, I can't fucking do this if I'm worried about reception, just can't do it. And so after like another couple of places, I went and looked at a house that had 2 balconies that was $2,500 a month, that was just like spectacular, but there was construction going on, and I was like, I had all these nightmares happen with the Airbnb in Miami, and so it was just like, things were not working out. And I had always kind of had this place in the back of my mind, and I was just like, I don't know if I want to be here, but it felt like when I walked in here the last time, it felt this like creative, like there was this like energy that was like Because what happened to me the last time that I was here, or what I created, was this completely different identity that I was standing in, that I was assuming, but I wasn't really close to God during that time. In fact, I was messing around with some pretty dark energy. And I could get emotional about this, FYI. I realized that this is like a really creative spot for me, because like look at this, like it's like woodsy, and I have views of the woods, and it's really cozy, and it's like you don't have to have blackout shades because it's so dark in my bedroom, and it's like pretty damn big for an apartment, and it's like perfect price point, and it reminds me of so many beautiful, amazing, magical times, and it feels like I'm at a fucking retreat in in Houston, in this little secluded place, and I just love being here. And it started, I started thinking about it, and I'm like, you don't have to have, and I've been seeing all these different mentors saying, save your money, save your money, save your money, put your money into investing, invest your money, invest your money. And I thought about it, and I'm like, God is totally restoring finances with me, and God is totally working some miracles with me, and God is showing me that money is not so important, and that God is showing me that He is healing my family and me on deep levels, and God is showing me the power of mindset work, and God is showing me magical, amazing things where I am feeling the power of God in a way that I have never known before. And this has only been 2 fucking days in this place. And the pool is not cold, it's perfect temperature, and a fucking yellow leaf just fell to the ground so beautifully. And one of the things that I realized is I feel very grounded here. When I'm sitting on my porch, and one of the things that I was so adamant about is having a patio that I can sit on, that I can write on, that I can meditate on. And I have journals around me, and I have my sparkling water, and I have literally a forest right in front of me, where I'm literally meditating and grounding and doing a lot of deep work. And this is about looking at my identity and looking at, who do I want to be? And I want to encourage you guys, and I've been processing, how do you teach someone a new identity? And how do you, oh my God, this is going to be where I learn how to do this. Holy fuck. Because I know how to do it, but I want to go really deep with it. Because I believe that when you change your identity, you can literally change everything about your mindset. It's boom. And you can have this massive paradigm shift. And a lot of people aren't ready for it, because what can happen is you can assume, and this is what happened to me when I was here the last time, you can assume a new identity, but you're not fully, in it. And so when you do that, you get pushback, and fucked up shit happens, because it's leveling you back into your normal identity. It's kind of like you're feeling like you don't deserve anything good and all this other shit. And so you put on this fake identity, and you step into this new place, and you start attracting all this really cool stuff. And then 1 minute it'll snap, and you'll be like, wait a minute, this isn't me. And then boom, you'll be thrust back into it. Or you'll assume the new identity, and then you'll have some really bad, fucked up shit happen that takes you right back into that old identity. And so I had never really experienced the power of God being made manifest physically, in physical form, ever in my life, until I started my business. Because I ran away from the church, and right around the time that I ran away from the church was where I lived here, or was when I lived here. And I came back from Bali, and I came back from traveling, and I came and was just ready to, I remember I lit candles, chakra candles, in my apartment. And literally, within 20 minutes, a guy called me that I had a crush on for 15 years. And from there, it was binge eating disorder gone, romance through the fucking roof, just insanely sexy stories that are something that should be written about in movies, and will be. We're talking best friend walking into the apartment, me passed out from having way too much tequila, black lace lingerie all over the place, literally her picking it up and being what the fuck just happened? That type of stuff, all the time, having parties and being known, people still talking about parties 15 years later, crazy wild stuff. And I didn't go back to church for years. And then when I was getting ready to start my business, I had to like get my head together, and I had to realize that I hadn't healed my relationship with God, and our relationship with God is the key to manifesting. And I wanted to have an identity in the highest, most pure form that I knew. Because the lesson that I learned, and I don't teach about this and I need to, is that you can go and get whatever the fuck you want, but you may consciously want it, but subconsciously you know that it's not the best thing for you. Or there's other shit going on that you need to clear out before you get it. And like, you could find your soulmate but fuck it up royally because you don't feel worthy of it. Or you could find, you know, like, you want to find a love story with, like, you know, get a mentor who's going to romance you and, you know, help you build a $500,000 a year business, but it be like a total, not something that you actually wish you would have done type of deal. And I'm not saying that that's my case, but I'm saying, like, giving you examples. It can be, you know, like, you can attract these things, and you can attract, like, I've had clients who went from 0 to $1 million in sales in 10 months, and looking back at the situation, you know, like, and I'm not saying her specifically because you know, people know who she is, but she's learned a lot of lessons, and so have I, and a lot of clients, is that you may want things for unconscious levels, but if you don't want them from a mature place, it's not going to be as rewarding, as fulfilling, as healing, as long-lasting, as peaceful, as joyful, as all the fucking things that you really deeply want. And so what I learned in this place is, can you hear the noise? It's so peaceful here. What I learned here, I'm so fucking happy to be here and be talking to you guys. I'm so fucking happy to be here and talking. I could cry. What I learned is that, yes, it's important for you to get what you want, but it's more important that you get what you want on a heart and soul level than it is on a head level. And it's more important for you to get what you want deep inside you versus get what you think you're supposed to want because of culture, because of family, because of friends, because of past experiences that you need to prove yourself. Or you're angry at someone and you want to, like, be like, fuck you. That stuff never really makes you happy. It doesn't. And you can have all the money in the world and be miserable. You can finally have enough money and be miserable. You can finally have the marriage, the sex life, and have them be cheating on you or fucking drugged out of their minds. And sure enough, 2 years later, after you, like, or a year after you broke up with them, when you finally realize things, they're fucking dying of an overdose, and you're literally like the memory of watching his casket being moved down the aisle of a church will always be with you. Those are the stories that I experienced. Those are the moments that I experienced. And there's been moments over the past 48 hours where I have seen the difference in the person that I have become from that period. And it's like, whoa, I have become a completely different person, and I didn't realize the magnitude of that. And I want to become a completely different person on deep levels, because I am a master and a obsessive person about growth. And that's what I want to bring into the world right now. And I want you guys to connect to that. I want you to know that. I want you to know that it's not about the stuff. It's important, but it's not about the stuff. It's about how peaceful you feel. It's about making peace with yourself and feeling fulfilled. Sorry. And you know, you got to do the things that make you feel affluent, and I plan on going and getting a 90-minute massage later today, because they give these, like, unbelievable massages where they walk on you, and I'm going to go get a personal trainer and work out at the gym where I was a personal trainer and, like, met some of the most magical people in my life, including one of the, like, #1 boxers in the world right now, who said, yeah, you have swagger for a white girl, and get in the best shape of my life. And learn how to be near family, but also have firm boundaries. And allow myself to heal on a deeper level than I have ever known before. And also, more importantly, to learn to trust God on levels that I have never felt safe to do so. That's what's important to me. Yes, money is important. You know, impacting the world is important. But if I don't feel, and I had come to this place where I was like, what's important? Having a place near family, because family is, I'll explain that later. Family's going through some stuff right now. And there is a opportunity for divine forgiveness. And there's an opportunity to not take everyone's shit on. There's an opportunity to, yes, make money and be about business and being about making an impact in the world and being about building your empire. But there's an even bigger opportunity to not only do those things, but to be so deeply fulfilled by your heart and your soul and your mind that you feel at one with the universe, you feel at one with God, you feel at one with your soul. And the Bible talks about this, and it's like, it's more important to have that peace than it is to have money. And I used to get angry at that, because it's like, you're basically saying to be poor, and it's not that. It's that if you don't know God, that's how you're going to interpret it. If you don't know God intimately, that's what'll happen. And I've got I printed off a bunch of scriptures, and I've got beef jerky, and I've got a list building course in front of me right now, and a broken phone, but I'll deal with it. I have insurance, and I can afford to buy a fucking phone. So in terms of identity, I've been well, what the fuck do I want to talk about? Because I feel like I've entered into a completely different dynamic in my life right now. And I had this huge breakthrough on Sunday. I went to see this pastor, Paula White, that I talk about a lot, that I've been researching and studying for 15 years. She has a $100 million empire. She's Donald Trump's spiritual advisor. Regardless of what you think of Trump, she's the fucking president of the United States spiritual advisor, and she has a $100 million empire. I don't care what the fuck you do. It's interesting. And does she know how to fucking sell? Holy fuck. You might think it's fucked up, but good God, does she know how to sell? And she's beautiful. And she, there's a long list of things. And her husband is John Cain, which is one of the singers of Journey, Don't Stop Believing, like that band. So there's a lot of things there. But I went to see her in person at her church. And it was life-changing. It was life-changing. And I had such deep shifts, so many deep shifts going on, that I got sick. And I couldn't do anything for a few days. And I was just like, I literally can't do anything. And then I got home, and we were here in Houston. And home's probably always going to be Houston, because I was raised here and I spent 25 years here. It's just, And the thing is I really like Houston, weirdly enough. But anyway, so we went to Austin, my mom and I did. And I was like, well, we need to just look at my stuff in storage. And she was like, you know where you want to live, because I had gone ahead and filled out the contract and stuff like that for here. And she was like, well, you know where you want to live, and we're on our way up here. Why don't you just fucking get it done? And it was funny, because my mom, literally, my assistant was like, Molly, we can't get this done. We have to wait until Thursday or Friday. And my mother was like, no, we're getting this done. And so we went to storage. And literally, I went and got my hair highlighted. And literally within 3 hours, my mom had found movers. No, I had found movers to move us the next day. And we had gotten me approved for the apartment, which wasn't inevitable. And my mom had pulled some strings with the apartment complex to let me move in on Sunday, which is, strange. And so here I am. So it's I really haven't had a chance to fucking process anything, and I'm still kind of fuck, I'm here. Whoa. Holy fuck. I'm in my own bed again. I'm on my fun couch. I'm My mom hates my couch, which is really funny. I'll have to post that video, but I want to talk about identity, and I want to talk about God, and I want to talk about like really truly like changing your identity, not just like on a surface level, but on a deep fundamental level. And I was like, well, how do you teach this? Like, I know how to do it internally, but how do you teach this? And it came to me on the call that I just did. Are you being the leading lady in your own life? Because she was asking, because she was in my coaching program, my coaching certification program. And she was like, because I talk a lot about character dynamics and being in movies and stuff like that. And she was like, how do you, if you're a supporting character, how do you become the lead character? And we used the analogy of Pretty Woman. Because I was like, well, what movies did you watch? Because I told her to watch some fucking movies. I was like, well, what movies did you watch? And she was like, I watched Pretty Woman. And I was like, okay, perfect. If you haven't fucking watched Pretty Woman, go watch the fucking thing. After you watch this. So she was like, and I'm like, okay, well, how does Kit become the main character? And she's like, and I was like, okay. And she explained, and it was a beautiful explanation. And she was like, you know, and I was like, basically it comes down to Kit didn't get in the car. She didn't get in Richard Gere's car. She told Vivian, aka Julia Roberts, to get in the fucking car. Vivian got in the fucking car and spent a week with this guy, made $3,000, fell madly in love, and it's probably like, if the movie were to, you know, be real life, she'd be married to the guy and be living in a penthouse suite, you know, in the most magical, beautiful place in the world. That type of thing. Kit told her to get in the car and was like teaching her how to be a fucking prostitute. And was the one who was teaching her how to be a prostitute. And teaching her how to be a prostitute. And she didn't do any changes. At the end of the movie, you see her talking to this woman who, like, is taking Julia Roberts' place. And she's like, do you have a goal? You gotta have a goal. And so you know in that instance that Kit isn't really gonna change. She's probably gonna stay a prostitute. She may get a job. She might get out of it. But she's not gonna, like, be making millions of dollars. She's not gonna go on to, like, have some big success story. Most likely not. And unless she deeply changes. And Vivian decides to go to college, go back to school. And so she becomes the lead. Now the thing is like, well, how could Kit become the lead character? Well, Julia Roberts goes off into the fucking car with the guy, and we see Kit go and like start to fuck some dude for, you know, $500 or whatever. And she has this monstrous a breakthrough that she has to create for herself. And has this like brilliant idea, and she goes to Julia Roberts and says, I need some money, and she gets like $500 from the person, and we see her build this $1 billion empire. That would be the main character. How are you not being the main character in your own life? And she said something interesting. She was like, and I said this to her, I was like, you can be the supporting character and not have anybody that you're supporting. You can be supporting subconsciously your family, your friends, your husband, whoever, because you're just like, it is what it is. Even if you don't think that on a conscious level, subconsciously you're doing that. It is what it is. I'm not going to change. I don't want to change because if I did, that would hurt people. That's the supporting fucking character. So, what do you need to do? You need to take fucking opportunities. You need to take action. You need to recognize that you're going to go through a process of changing yourself. You're going to go through a process of changing your identity. You can go through it, you know, what's the word? Where you don't even know what's happening. Because I've had a lot of people say to me that they've watched my old videos and they've watched me now and they're like, there's something just dramatically different about you. And I've had clients who've been working with me long term say you're a completely different person than when you started your business. And I'm kind of like, how? But it's more on an internal level, and I just started realizing that since I've been here, because I'm like, whoa, this is big. And I'm seeing my level of worth that's developed over the past however long it's been since I've been here, probably like 6-7 years. And how do I say this? Or you can choose to change it first. So my question to you is, what types of personalities do you want to have as this new version of yourself? And how can you develop more of that? Me personally, I want to be more authoritative. So when people try to fuck me over, or break contracts, or give up on themselves, or think that they know better, or are narcissistic as fuck, or break up commitments, whether written or non-written, or people who say they're sorry and really you don't trust them, guarding your heart, being a high value person, not getting into relationships that are toxic, not getting into situations that are toxic, not getting into programs or coaches or mentors that are not for you, not listening to your gut instincts, not, and I shouldn't be saying not, but like, notice what I'm doing. I'm just kind of like, throwing shit out there. So how more developed is this? Well, somebody who, if she sees a guy and she knows that she could date the guy, and although he has some issues, and she already kind of knows what the issues are because she can read people so well, not getting into the fucking relationship. Number 1, not tolerating bullshit. Number 2, recognizing that clients that you attract can get fast, phenomenal results, and they can be cunts or they can be magical people, and making the decision to attract the magical ones who may not necessarily, and I'm not saying I don't want clients who, don't get amazing results, but are going to leave an impact on my life in a way that I've never known before and get phenomenal results. And the thing is that we as coaches, burping, are kind of the supporting character. But what's the difference between being a supportive character as a coach or being the lead character as a coach? Which one are you doing? What are you playing? And how do you step into the lead fucking role? Usually the lead fucking role has some massive change and becomes hot, sexy, rich, and like romantically involved with Prince Charming. I'm not saying that Prince Charming exists. I think it's what you believe. And I've started getting clear on the next version of who I'm with, what it looks like, getting clear on things that I haven't let go of, friendships that I, had that I didn't let go of, lessons that I'm still learning, that I'm still processing that need to be processed and put aside for permanently. Making a decision to not let, stupid shit in my head fuck with me. Not let narcissistic cunts fuck with me, even psychically, because you got to be aware that people will fuck with you psychically, or they'll try to. But you have to be the person who's like, no, not gonna. And the thing is that if you're somebody who does do that, fucks with people subconsciously, psychically, you might be like, I'm not going to do that anymore, but you might be still doing it. So beware. And karma can be a bitch. I think it's important to love yourself deeply, obviously. And I think that I've been taking more time to acknowledge myself in the midst of days, and I've been working with a really amazing coach, sex coach, who's helping me tap into parts of me that I've rejected because of people that I have been hurt by in coaching. Mentors, clients, I've pushed it down, and I've been like, no, that's not me, because that person's like that, and so therefore I'm not like that. But deep down there's big similarities between me and that person, but I'm not completely just like that person. And so looking at it from this big standpoint of, who am I? What do I want? Who do I want to be? And how does that person act in the world? Because you could look at it here's an example. You could look at it as, okay, I'm going to be the chick who makes $1 million this year and goes from 0 to $1 million in sales in 10 months. Or you can look at it and be like, I'm going to become this really amazing, fulfilled, brilliant, kind, loving person that is so fulfilled and so abundant that things like going from 0 to $1 million in sales in 10 months is like so normal to me that it's not even that big of a deal. But I'm not expecting it in the sense where I'm like, oh my God, this needs to happen. I'm just kind of like, it happens. How many times have you had a guy where you're like, and he fucking like shows up with flowers and ready to fucking like be your boyfriend? Oh shit, where's my drink? That type of thing. So, I'm trying to think of anything else. So I'm going to be talking about, like, I was thinking as I was, like, talking about this, that I might talk about, like, self-love one time, and I might talk about self-respect one time, and I might talk about self-worth one time. I might do that, and I might just talk about random shit. I don't know. But I am looking for a couple of new one-on-one clients that want to get really fucking big results. Really big results. And are determined, who are not out of integrity with themselves, who are, and I need to get more clear on this on paper, who are deeply committed. I've had a situation over the past month where I have found out that certain people that say they're deeply committed and they do everything that they say or they're going to do, don't. And I have found out that those types of people said that I wasn't very committed, and the truth of the matter is that they were projecting their shit onto me, and I'm actually very, very committed. And the thing about success, the number one thing that you need is fucking commitment. Period. The fucking end. So if you break contracts with people, if you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, karma may not come back to get you. But be careful not to continue to do that, because you might find yourself being very uncommitted to things that are very, very important to you, which in the long run can fuck with you. And if you don't want to face it, you might be fucking shit up or fuck things up that were really fucking amazing for you and you could have had for the rest of your life, but you chose not to because you weren't committed. And you may have thought that you're committed, but you weren't. And you need to face facts. So how are you being committed and how are you not being committed? Commitment is very important to me. So people who break contracts, I'm just announcing this. Number 1, you will never work with me again. Number 2, I will never refer you to anybody. Number 3, I will make every client that comes to me about you, asking of you, I will tell them that they are not committed and they break contracts. Period. The end. Number 4, I am a very powerful manifester, and I believe that God takes care of, gives justice. I don't, God does. So God decides. And whatever the hell that is for you, so be it. But I do know this. You won't ever have me in your life, and that you're missing out on. Big time. So, and I have had, no wonder this makes so much sense now. I have been notorious about people rejecting me or abandoning me or fucking our relationship up. This may be something I deeply need to look at. And 3, 4, 7 years later are like blindsided by the fact that they fucked it up. And they feel really fucking horrible about it. So don't be that person. Just don't. And the thing is that notice, if you look at what I'm saying, the integrity that I'm talking about, and all that shit, because I've been talking a lot about, anger and stuff like that with clients. And the thing is that anger isn't, you let anger stay in your system. It's not healthy. However, if you don't address your anger, it's not healthy either. So, and the thing is that I went into I remember this. I went into a therapist's office like several years ago. It may have been when I was living here. Yeah, it was actually. And I walked in the therapist's office and I was just pissed. And I sat down and I was like, I'm angry. And she was like, good. That's the first sign of you realizing that you've been treated like shit and that you're accepting it. So in terms of like, you could be like, oh yeah, okay, they said they were going to do something and they didn't do it. Okay, you know, that's okay. Or you can be like, I don't put up with that shit. I don't tolerate it. And you can say something about it. Or not. I won't ever blatantly like put somebody's name out there. That I won't do. But you should take the same position. And how do you have more of a backbone? Because if you want to fucking do business, you need to have a goddamn backbone. And a lot of you who don't have backbones, at least you don't think you do, come to work with me because I'm extremely tough. I'm extremely strong. I've been beaten down. I've been told that I don't have a fucking backbone all of my life. And I've had people treat me like I don't have a fucking backbone. And I've kind of come to the point in my life where I've realized that I've allowed people to do this for certain specific reasons, for certain payoffs, because it helps me play the victim. And, you know, being the victim, you get attention, and it was the way that I got love and all this other shit. And so it's a pattern. And how do you change it? How do you start to be someone who doesn't tolerate bullshit? We're talking about it. I don't tolerate fucking bullshit anymore. And that was something that I was like, when I first started my business, that I was like, no, I'm not going to be like that because I don't want to be like certain people. And you know what? I actually think that maybe I need to start being more like that. I don't tolerate bullshit anymore. And I forgive fast, but I'm very careful to let those people back in. And I used to not be. And I want to encourage you to guard your hearts, for it is the wellspring of life. It's in the Bible. And it's true. Guard your heart, especially in business. And don't fuck with people who refer people hundreds of thousands of dollars in business. Just don't. It's stupid. It's really fucking stupid. Really stupid. Really stupid. And I've pissed people off before. Don't blatantly piss somebody off. There's a difference. You're going to piss people off, you don't mean to, but blatantly doing it is a whole other ballgame. And most likely the thing is that if you piss somebody off, give them a chance to cool down, and they'll realize that you weren't deliberately meaning to hurt them. But if you try to go make it right, and you don't go make it right, and you don't stay committed to making it right, that's where you have a conscious ability to make it right and you don't. That's different. And sometimes they won't give you the opportunity. I'd like to think that I would give the opportunity if it was the right thing to do. And discernment is another quality that I want deeply. Deep discernment. Discernment meaning you understand what's of God, what's not of God, what's right for you, what's not, what's your gut, what's your head, what's your heart, who's good people, who's not good people, who's fucking with you, who's not fucking with you, and what things you need to change, what things you don't need to change, what things you need to be hard on yourself for, and what things you don't need to be hard on yourself for, having to have more compassion for yourself, having to know how to attract what it is that you want on a deep level, being able to discern what is right and what is wrong for you, or rather what is right for you right now versus what you think you need versus what you really do need, your soul. So I want to get more in touch with my soul, and I would empower you to do the same thing. So I just talked for 45 minutes. Holy shit. Well, it felt good to get back in the game. you guys have any questions, let me know. So one-on-one clients, I obviously am going through some like deep change myself. So whenever whenever I'm going through deep change, it's usually evident that my clients are going to go through deep change. So if you want deep change, like deep fundamental change where you get physical, tangible results. And so I'm not talking about like deep healing or goosebumpy feelings and, you know, feeling God and like, you know, God's glory and stuff like that. And I'm not talking about just getting shit done and getting the $1 million business and getting the $100 million and getting this and getting the boyfriend, getting the weight loss, getting all that shit. I'm talking about both of them submerged and having a deep fundamental connection to God, excuse me, in a way that you feel rooted in the ground, where you feel steady, sturdy, steadfast in your ability to create what it is that you want, where you don't have to access different powers. You are the only thing that is needed. You are the only connection that you need. You and God, that's it. The one true God, however it is that you want to call him, her, whatever. But that deep connection that is unshakable, that is solid, that will never leave you, that will never forsake you, that will hold true to every promise that it has made to you. That deep understanding, that such a deep connection that you will be able to know what it is that is right for you, what divine appointments are right for you, what projects, prospects to reach out to, how to call them in, how to stand in a place of magnetism because you are that deeply divine, deeply connected, where you feel pure and fulfilled, and that you can wake up in the morning and feel like a really good human being and attract a shitload of money and have really hot sex and get talked to during sex in ways that you always never really knew that existed, and to feel a peace beyond all understanding. So that being said, thanks for listening, thanks for watching. I'm really excited to see this new version of myself, and I hope you are too. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. I don't see any comments as of right now, but I could be like, sometimes that messes up. Whoa. Whoopsies. Yeah. So I'll turn it around. Look at my forest. Isn't that cool? See, I would ground in those trees, literally. And the pool's down there, if you can see it. Anyways, and then you got my beef jerky and my scriptures and my book and my journal. And now it's starting to rain. I hear the sound of abundance of rain. Awesome. Okay, guys, if you have any questions, let me know. And again, just FYI, just because I talk about God doesn't mean that you have to be a Christian or, you know, religious or spiritual or anything like that to work with me. You don't. That will never be something that will ever be an issue. Okay? You can always come talk to me. Lots of love. Gotta go. Bye.